Hello everyone. Today we're going to delve into another important essay. So the essay is about, should lawbreakers just be punished or should they be rehabilitated as well? So this is the gist of the essay that we're going to do today. It is very important. So pay attention and watch the video until the end. So first, let's read the entire topic well and try to understand what we are supposed to write. Okay. In many places, prisons are overcrowded and expensive for the government to maintain. Yet, when offenders are released, they end up back in prison a short while later. Does prison work? Should lawbreakers be given rehabilitation? So this is the question. So first itself they are saying that prisons are getting overcrowded and expensive. That means there are a lot of offenders. So here indirectly they're trying to tell that the crime has surged. The crime rate has increased. They're also saying that when offenders are released after their set term, they end up back in prison a short while later. That means they are again reoffending. So the question is, does prison work? Means they are again reoffending, right? They have gone into prison, they have done the term. However, when they are released, they end up back in prison. So the first question is, does prison really work? And the second question is, should these criminals be given rehabilitation? So I have understood the question well. Then there is going to be an introduction paragraph. There is going to be a body paragraph where we're going to write about whether prisons really work, should there be prisons or not. And in the body 2 paragraph, we will write if lawbreakers should be given rehabilitation or not, and conclusion paragraph. Now we also have to think about various synonyms that we will write in the essay, because we can't keep writing offenders in the entire essay, and even the word prison would be repeated many a times. So let's think about some synonyms for the word prison and offenders. Okay, so instead of prison we can write jail. Okay, can you think of anything else? Put behind bars. So to put behind bars means also to put in jail. Then we can write imprisoning them. Anything else? You can also write lock up. Okay, now we have to think about prisoners. Instead of prisoners, what can you write? Offenders. Yes. We can call them criminals. Okay. Then culprits. And we can call them lawbreakers. So make sure you use a variety of synonyms in your essay so that you can impress the invigilator. Okay, so now we have thought of some synonyms. Now we are going to brainstorm and think about the points that we are going to write. Okay, so I have written certain points. Let's go through them. So does prison work? Yes, of course, there should be prisons. Why should there be any prison? Because it can prevent further crimes. So if the offender, if the person is imprisoned, then it can prevent that person from further committing any crimes. Otherwise, if the murderer, for example, is not imprisoned, he would go on committing the crime because there is no punishment for his actions. Next, it provides justice to the victim, isn't it? Unless and until the offender is not punished, it will not seem like justice is provided to the victim, which finally will help the victim heal to know that the offender has been punished. The third point is it deters others from committing the crime. So if there is consequences to their actions, if they get to know that they will be punished severely for their action, then it will stop others from committing the crime. Like for example, in Saudi Arabia, if someone commits a rape, then they are immediately hanged in public. So by seeing that there is consequence to the actions that they commit, it will deter them from doing so. So prisons are necessary. Now let's go to the next thing, which is rehabilitation. So should lawbreakers be given rehabilitation? Yes, of course. If you see, if they are just imprisoned and set free, they commit the crime again. So therefore it becomes imperative that they are rehabilitated also. Now let's see why. Because by doing rehabilitation we can figure out the root cause of why they are committing the crime. So sometimes some people might be committing crimes because of poverty, unemployment, they don't have a job, or maybe because of substance abuse, and they need money because they are addicted to some form of substance like drugs. So if they figure out the root cause of the problem and uproot it, then the person can become a better individual and maybe crimes would reduce. Also, in many societies, young individuals, they're oblivious to the fact that what they're committing is actually a crime. Why? Because they are in certain circumstances where everyone in that society are criminals. So they are actually unaware that they are actually committing a crime. So by rehabilitation, they can be educated about the consequences of their actions, and therefore they can become better individuals. Also, when they are involved in social service or after they are given a job, they can easily be reintegrated into the society. So this is the gist of the points that we have brainstormed. Now I have written a sample answer, and good vocabularies are in italics, so you can go through them as well. So let's discuss this essay in depth. So first I have written my introduction paragraph here. Let's read that. In the present era, crime rates have become rampant. So what does rampant mean? Widespread or unrestrained. And it endangers the safety of the people. Therefore, it is believed that just imprisonment does not hinder. Hinder means stop the criminals from recidivism. So what is recidivism? Recidivism is a term given to the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend after they are being released from prison. So I have written, just imprisonment does not hinder the criminals from recidivism, and that rehabilitation is also crucial in crime prevention. Both the aspects would be delved deeper in the ensuing paragraphs. So in my introduction paragraph, I've written a general statement about how crime rates have become rampant, and I've also mentioned that just imprisonment is not enough, but they should also be rehabilitated. Now let's go to the paragraph on why they should be prisons or jail, because that was the first question if you remember. Okay. It is imperative. Imperative means essential, crucial, vital. It is imperative to have prisons because it would prevent the criminals from further committing crimes while they are incarcerated. So what is the meaning of incarcerated? Put in prison. That is when they are imprisoned. Therefore, it becomes necessary to remove these offenders from the society and help ensure public safety. So like I mentioned, to prevent further committing of crimes, they should be removed from the society. Not only this, but by imprisoning the offenders, it provides justice to the victim. So I have written the point, provide justice to the victim. Now I'm going to explain the point. Always make sure that you explain the point that you have written, because otherwise the invigilator will not understand what you're trying to say. To explain further, when the criminals are put behind bars, they are held accountable for their actions, and it is a form of retributive justice. So I have explained what retributive justice is, where the punishment is seen as a consequence for wrongdoing, and also for some victims, the punishment of the wrongdoer can seem like a key step in their healing process. So retributive justice is मैंने कुछ गलत किया है और उसका consequences है और उसको वो भुगतना पड़ेगा. So isn't that true? Once the victims get to know that the offender has got punishment for the heinous act, they can finally start the healing process. Next, furthermore, the threat of potential imprisonment acts as a deterrent. Deterrent means something that helps to stop that for potential offenders. If prisons were eliminated, then people would be audacious. That means they would be brave to commit crimes and be motivated to offend umpteen number of times, leaving the society quite handicapped. See, because if there are no jails, if there are no consequences, if they are not punished, then they will definitely be motivated to commit the crimes over and over again, and they will have nothing to fear. Then the judicial system is going to be really weak and it is going to collapse. I have also added an example. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, the punishment for rape is public beheading within days of the crime committed. Hence, by having such stringent laws, stringent means strict, it would deter people from doing such heinous acts. Deter is stop. Okay, now I have written and explained well of why it is important to have prisons. Now I'm going to the paragraph where it is important to have rehabilitation. Although prisoners are imprisoned, when they are set free after their term, they are seen to reoffend. Hence, it becomes apparent, means evident, that just by putting them in jail is ineffective, and there would be a perpetual cycle that would continue. What is the perpetual cycle? They commit the crime, they are put in jail, then they come out, again they commit the crime, and the cycle continues. So the government should also focus on rehabilitation and community-based programs. It has been noted that many a times crime is often rooted in social and economic factors such as poverty, lack of opportunity, substance abuse, illiteracy, mental health problems, and the surrounding in which they were brought up. So there are many root causes usually of why they commit crimes. Therefore, the root cause should be identified and dislodged. So whatever the root causes, if they have a problem of finding work, they should be given some form of employment so that then they do not have to go and commit wrongdoings such as maybe robbery or theft. So if the root cause is identified and dislodged, then that would tremendously reduce the number of crimes. Because if the underlying reason persists, then the crimes may not reduce. Then there is no point of just putting them in prison and releasing them, right? And in certain cases, it could just exasperate it, because now they are going into jail where they find other criminals. Also, they might have a form of grudge that they are punished. So they might not stop doing it. Hence, rehabilitation should be done. Now I'm coming to the conclusion paragraph. In a nutshell, the offenders should definitely be punished according to the intensity of the crime. So I'm not saying that there should not be any prisons. Yes, they should definitely be punished according to the intensity of the crime, and jails are necessary to maintain law and order in the country. However, the offender should be educated, made involved in social service, and rehabilitated so that it can give them an opportunity to turn into a new leaf. So, this is a phrase, turn into a new leaf means become a better individual, and they can successfully be reintegrated into the society as better individuals. So this is how you can write the essay. This is just an understanding of how to write this essay. Now I would suggest you to write these good vocabularies in a special notebook and go through them before your exam so that you can include them in your essay while writing it. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end, and I hope it helped you. Please share this video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that right now. Thank you and God bless.